I mean, I'll just start with how fun this is. How obvious. I mean, there's a statue.
Yeah.
Of you going up. I mean, what is the reaction, both when you heard about that and even when you think about it today ahead of the unveiling?
I mean, well, the reaction initially was like, seriously? You know, like a statue? But obviously, every word you could think of. It's an honor. I feel a lot of pride. I feel so connected to the city. So to have so many people, I mean, it always takes a village, and it definitely took one, both for mine and for Lenny's statue. I feel really honored to be next to Lenny Wilkens out there. Everything you could think of is all that I'm feeling.
I'm always struck by when you think about like full circle moments, like kid on Long Island's gonna have a statue in Seattle one day. You know what I'm saying? Like how crazy to think about how life can take these turns and that sort of thing.
Yeah, never would have even thought this was a possibility when I got here in 2002. I knew we had a good team. You know, it was me, it was Lauren. We were building something. But to look back on my career and see all that we've accomplished, and to have a statue that's going to be there forever, honoring that. You know, showcasing it, telling a story. You know, it's about Storm culture and again what we've built. So it's pretty incredible.
Thinking about kids that are going to be walking by it, countless, right?
Yeah.
And I think, but I have a little 3-year-old at home, and I get to explain to him, yeah, that's Sue. She did this and that. From that perspective, I mean, how special is that part of it?
Yeah, so special. I feel really lucky. You know, listen, the statue is in this like whole other category of its own. But I feel like a lot of my career and a lot of people in my generation, we've been able to inspire younger generations. So, you know, whether it's a young girl who's going to walk by that statue and maybe be inspired by it, maybe want to, you know, be that person one day, or a young boy who now sees women in these positions, sees a woman as a professional athlete who had a career in a city, won championships, and now has a statue, so he can see that that's possible for young girls and for women. So for both, I feel really lucky that that's what the statue also represents. But I feel like my generation's really been a part of changing a lot of narratives around what women can do.
And that was actually my next question. It's obvious the special and the meaning if for a young girl in Seattle that gets to see that statue, but it is also young boys and the growth of women's sports in general. Certainly you and Megan have just had this enormous role in that. I keep saying how special it is because it is just that, but how special is that to look back and see the difference and the change that you all affected?
Yeah. I mean, so much of what I've been able to do personally, individually, so much of what we've been able to do with the Storm as a team, as a franchise. There's a lot of different ways in which we've changed, you know, culture, which is a huge statement in a lot of ways, but it's really true. I think we've changed it from just like a pure sports standpoint, the way we played, the way we won year after year, always being competitive. I think we've changed it, like you said, in terms of who we've inspired and who now maybe wants to, who might be 5 years old dreaming to play in the WNBA. That's a big part of my story, not having a WNBA to dream about. So yeah, we've touched culture in all these different ways.
And certainly it's a similar question, but specifically with the W, I mean, from when you were a rookie to where it is now, I mean, it's
crazy.
It is crazy, and certainly a huge part in that, and maybe the biggest part in that. I know you're humble and don't want to say it in that way, but we can look at it from the outside. Looking at the difference in from your rookie to even where it is now, how great things are, even things that players are getting right. You know, knowing the part you had in that, how great is that part of it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally everything we were fighting for. There was no way to predict how fast it would happen, so the speed of it has been probably the most rewarding thing, because we really knew, all of us knew. We knew how special the WNBA was. We knew how great the competition was, how great the players were. We knew we had something, but we just needed people to give us coverage, you know, obviously invest in us, all the things everybody knows now. So to see it turn so quick really just proves us right. We knew it was special. And I take a lot of pride in being a part of any of it. I know my fingerprints are here and there, and that feels really good.
You know, and we keep talking about the effect the statue will have on somebody.
Yeah.
When a parent walks by with the kid, what part maybe excites you more? Explaining the accolades on the court, the championships, or what we just talked about, the way the game was changed in your time?
Yeah, I think what's so beautiful about, when you see the statue, you'll see what they have written out. And the statue itself, I mean, these are things that can't be argued. We won championships, we changed culture, we pushed you know, a lot of negative narratives to the side, and really pushed a lot of positive agendas forward. And these are things that are real. These are things that you can't take away. You can't rewrite history. And the statue, again, that'll be there forever. Hopefully nobody's knocking that thing down. So to know you've had permanent impact is amazing.
And that was the next thing. It's so permanent, right? Like the jerseys and the rafters, and that's wonderful too, but the statue is kind of like a totally different animal in that regard, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't even know. I know, I was joking the other night, I'm like, between the jersey and a street being named after me, and now the statue, I pretty much own the city. I don't know how else to say it. No, I'm joking.
No one can argue with that.
No, I'm joking. I think a statue is totally different, right? Whether it's the other athletes in Seattle who have had statues. I'm now in some pretty elite company, pretty impactful athletes. But when you look kind of like more nationally, even globally, there's not a lot of women. Asia Wilson has a statue at South Carolina, which is amazing and deserved, but there's really not that many women who have statues. Pat Summitt has one, from her coaching career at Tennessee. But, so hopefully this is just the start of more women getting recognized in this way.
Yeah, the first one dedicated by a W franchise.
Yeah.
And hopefully not the last. And that's just part of the impact continuing too, right?
Yeah. It's pretty, there's not many things I've been the first at. This, and I think winning in 2004 here in Seattle with the Storm, that was the Storm's first championship. Everything else I've been a part of, it's been, trying to keep a legacy going, not necessarily creating one. So the statue being the first, that's something that is really meaningful to me.
And this is something that becomes the fabric of Seattle, right? Whether it's somebody who lives here, every time I walk to the arena, I'm going to look for it. But even people who travel here, that's the Sioux statue, things like that. And knowing what this city means to you, right? Like how cool is that part of it, that you have this, like, for lack of a better term, like landmark, whatever it might be in this city.
Yeah, I know. Hopefully I make one of those lists.
Right?
When people come to town and they're like, what should I go look for? But my relationship with the city, I've talked about it a ton, just the connection, the way they support women's sports, the way they support all sports. This is by far, I've traveled the world. This is by far, if not the best, one of the best sports cities, and just the way that everyone is embraced. I even think of, how they have a Seattle Sports Awards night for all the sports teams. Not many cities do that, to bring us all together, and so you feel that connectedness within just like the fabric of other sports teams, Seahawks, Mariners, even UW, Washington State, whatever it is. You feel very connected, but then that also connects you to the city itself.
What was it like, as a rookie coming to Seattle, other side of the country?
Man, I was like, what is this place?
Yeah,
and it's totally different.
And they did embrace you, right? There was no Seattle freeze, right?
Yeah, no, I didn't get the freeze. I figured out what the freeze was, though.
Sure,
the freeze exists, but no, I had no freeze. Everybody was incredibly warm and welcoming. My teammates were incredibly warm and welcoming, showing me where to go get breakfast, showing me where the grocery store is, like all the things that you have to learn to do when you're becoming an adult. And that's really what Seattle is for me. I became an adult in this city. I started venturing out and trying new restaurants. I wasn't just eating at Fridays anymore. I'm like, Wasabi Bistro, that's kind of fun. That was one of the first sushi spots I ever went to. So just being able to grow here, have that connection again with the city, have them be so warm and welcoming. But there was some culture shock moments for sure.
Yeah.
Like the jaywalking. I've talked about all this stuff, but nobody jaywalks. I'm from New York. So I was like, what is going on? I don't get it.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm from New York as well. I was like, what is, but I love it here. I'm never leaving. So on a similar note here too, it's one of those things too where, gosh, everybody, sports fan or not, when they, if they say they're from Seattle, they're talking to somebody from out of town, like they're so proud to talk about your legacy here. Yeah. And I know, and I keep asking this in different ways, but in that light, that's such a neat thing, at least for me on the outside to think about. I can't imagine what it's like for you personally.
Yeah, to build off what I was saying about just how special this sports community is, it's also like that between the athletes. I remember, meeting Jamal Crawford when I was probably in my first or second year, becoming friends with him. And he never got to play for the Sonics, but obviously one of the Seattle greats. He reps Seattle everywhere he goes, everywhere he has been. And then I ran into him probably heading into my last year, and he kind of made some comment. He's like, oh yeah, Sue's from Seattle. And I was like, I kind of corrected him. I was like, well, I've been here a long time, but I'm not really from here. He's like, nah. He's like, you're from here. Mm-hmm. And that meant a lot, because he really, to me, him, Isaiah, the list goes on. Even the guys that played for the Sonics, The Sonics obviously left. They still own homes here. I ran into PJ Carlesimo like a couple months ago at the grocery store. And it goes, not just the Sonics, all the other sports teams, all the other athletes. Obviously, I'm friends with the women on the Reign as well. So it's just a really tight-knit community that's really special to be a part of.
I would have loved to have been at the store when you run into PJ.
Yeah, I was like, PJ, what's up?
Crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and
we shop at supermarkets just like everybody else, you know?
Exactly, no kidding. And to that point, you know, everybody knows Seattle is a basketball town, and it was unfortunate what happened with the Sonics, but it was you and it was the Storm. They made sure it never stopped being a basketball town, and maybe even more than ever.
Yeah.
You know, how neat is that part of it?
Yeah, I mean, when the Sonics left, it really was sad. I was really sad. I love basketball. I love NBA basketball. I see what NBA teams and WNBA teams do for communities. So I was really sad, but at the same time, we did want to carry on the tradition of Seattle basketball. We did want to make sure we continued to hold it down, I guess, until the Sonics come back, which I'm sure they will. But yeah, we became the professional basketball to watch in this city. And there was something that, you know, was really special about that.
In retirement a couple years now,
Yeah.
you know, just being able to look back as we have, does it give more clarity on everything that was achieved now that you're a couple years? Like, you're not in the daily grind of it, right?
No, yeah, I don't miss the daily grind. I miss the playoffs.
Sure.
I still miss the playoffs. That became pretty clear pretty quick. I go to a ton of games, as everyone knows. I try to stay connected. You know, if I'm not in Seattle going to games, Megan and I also live in New York from, you know, half the year. So I go to the Liberty games there just to show support. It's always go Storm, though, don't worry. But yeah, I even the very first game I went to after retirement, like my very first year, I was like, oh man, I do not want to play defense. Like, oh, I do not want to be setting screens. But when the playoffs started, I missed it all over again. So I think that'll just be the case for forever. I'm always going to miss big games, but I don't miss the grind. And, you know, the games that I look back on that, you know, I wish I could do again, some of those tougher losses, yeah, they still sting. I still don't like talking about them, but I have no regrets otherwise. I feel really fulfilled by my career, and I'm really proud of it.
I want to talk about the podcast in a minute, but the last
Sure.
thing I want to talk about in this regard is, and it's such a broad question, so you take a second, and I apologize in advance, but I'm struck by, you know, anybody watching this interview, basketball fan or not, what's that one piece of advice? What made you be able to, message, piece of advice that helped you through what was such a special time?
It is, well, okay. First of all, it's two words that are so easy to say. It's a cliche in a sense, but it's be yourself. And it cracks me up because in one of my early years, I think maybe my second year, maybe my rookie year, I partnered with like a kids book company, Positively for Kids, I think it was called, and we did a children's book. And the title of the book was Be Yourself. Be Yourself by Sue Bird. I think Gary Payton had one, Confidence Counts. There was like these light books for kids. And my book and my message was all about being yourself. And it cracks me up when I look back. Because if I had to guess the year, I'd say 2003. So I'm like 22, 23 years old. I don't think I even knew who I was yet.
Sure.
You know, I wasn't even doing that yet. I was trying, but I'm like, I didn't really know. And I think at times, and this is where the advice part kicks in, at times it can be hard just to simply be yourself. And I think now, especially for younger people with social media and everything that's going on in the world, it can even be more difficult. But there's really nothing better than being able to be in your skin, authentically yourself. And that's really where you get to find out who you are and, you know, what your character's like, and you get to make mistakes but then grow from them. And you can't be a professional athlete without it. You can't do what you do without it. Everything in life is touched by you showing up as yourself. So that's, I guess, my advice.
You take a lot of courage, right?
A ton of courage.
Yeah.
But you have to be, I think a big part of courage is understanding it's not always going to go perfect.
Absolutely.
You're going to make mistakes, and you're going to learn from them.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate everything you're doing, you know, 2 podcasts, a
Yeah.
touch more. First of all, the interviews are great, but I think my favorite part is just you and Megan bantering at the beginning of a touch more, and of course Bird's Eye View as well. How is that, you know, post-retirement, but obviously not really retired because you're still doing a lot of things. How has that transition been for you? How fun is it? Like, how do you feel about all that?
Yeah, oh, it's a ton of fun. A touch more, the podcast that Megan and I do together, that started as something we just, I don't even know. We were in the pandemic. We were bored. We started getting on Instagram Live, and then it grew to what it is now. But it really started as live shows. So I think that's why a lot of our podcast is just us, like yakking and bantering, going back and forth. But we do want to talk about more of, the different ways that, I guess, society, culture interacts with women's sports. So yeah, every now and then we'll like break down a game, or Megan will talk about what's going on in the NWSL. But for the most part, it's like, oh, did you see the New York Liberty at the Met Gala? Did you like their outfits? It's a lot of culture conversations too. And then of course we bring on guests. And then for Bird's Eye View, that's just like 100% an interview show. At the top of every episode, I'll give a couple tidbits on what I'm seeing around the WNBA. It's 100% WNBA focused for now. We'll see. And it's been so much fun. You know what I've learned about podcasts is really like anything. You go in with kind of like one idea of what you think it's going to be, or what you maybe even want it to be, and then ultimately it just takes on a life of its own. So this kind of sort of started as, WNBA player focused, but it's really become like an interview show where you can get to know these players. And I am not a professional interviewer. I own that right out the gate, but I do have a ton of experience as a player. I do know these players, and so I think that conversation is just different from what you might get if somebody went on a proper interview show. And it's been really fun to help players get their stories out there, help people learn more about where they're from, who they are, why they play the way they play, and maybe some of the harder things they've gone through.
Well, I was just going to say I think that's one of the most fun parts about it. It's so authentic. It's people you know, and it's going directly to you and Megan, or in case of Bird's Eye View, just you. And so how special is it to connect directly with the audience in that way?
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I think a big part of growing the sports business, we've figured this out for sure, and we have to keep doing it, is just having more people can create more content, because when you showcase a player's journey, kind of how I just outlined it, I think people get connected to them in a different way, right? Fans get connected to them in a different way, and it helps grow their personal business, but really the WNBA's business in general. So it's, in some ways, I feel like I'm still doing my part to help the WNBA grow.
Absolutely, and that's the thing. We see you talk to players and across sports and things like that. How neat is it that it's become this platform, certainly to celebrate, but also like these athletes want to be on your show, right?
Yeah. That's actually one of the best compliments that Megan and I can receive, is when we hear of, a player who just finished winning the European Championship, the Euros in soccer, Lucy Bronze, like she wants to come on our podcast. She's down to do it, she's looking forward to it even. So it's great when we're around and athletes are like, yo, when are you going to invite me on? It gives us, we're like, okay, this is, they're enjoying this. This is good.
And you're just having fun with it.
Yeah, oh yeah. We try not to take ourselves too seriously, on a touch more. We'll ask questions that are relevant and that we think people might want to know the answer to. Same for Bird's Eye View. I'm not trying to catch anybody in a gotcha moment. I'm not even trying to go viral. I just want it to be fun, interesting conversations.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
That's how I try to do it. But hey, last thing I'll ask on this front, just the idea that, I kind of asked it a minute ago from the standpoint of being able to connect directly with the audience, but from a standpoint of like you can see directly what your fans are saying to you.
Yeah.
And certainly that's part of social media, right?
Yeah.
Like any platform. But how neat is it to kind of see it in that way? Like, Sue, not just that we love you sort of thing, but like the feedback on the show, and how, quite frankly, universally loved it is to see you guys doing your thing.
Yeah, when we're out in the wild and people come up to us like, oh, we watch your podcast, or oh, I listen to your podcast, or sometimes people will even like recite certain moments or parts that connected with them or that they loved. For a touch more, Megan and I we show our relationship like a little bit. We do these joking segments called Bickers of the Week. Just those dumb things that you argue about, with the person you're in a relationship with. And people seem to really like that. So that's why actually a couple weeks ago, we're like, maybe we should tell a story of when we're on the same team. We're not always fighting. It's not always bickers. But it's been really fun. And people love it, and they choose sides. And it's actually a great way to, like you said, connect with the audience.
Awesome. Well, we love it. Super. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you for the time.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Thanks.